We're talking NBA. The season starts tomorrow, so let's bring in my next guest, NBA betting analyst over at Sportsbook Review, Jon Metler. He will be joining me 3 times a week on this show. Kelly Olynyk, prop betting specialist as well. I don't think he has any Kelly Olynyk stuff for you, but Jon, how you doing? The season kind of crept up on us a little bit, eh?
Not for me. I've been waiting all summer for the NBA to come back, so I'm super excited that it's here. I just went and quickly looked. JJ McCarthy is 40-1 to be the first quarterback or the first overall pick. So I was so glad you asked that follow-up question. I was like, can you ask him who he thinks it will be?
Yeah, he teed me up for that, and it's
NBA,
not my first rodeo here, so yeah, I got a JJ McCarthy. Yeah, might be worth a look. Okay, so let's talk NBA. So what we're gonna do, opening night tomorrow night. There's 2 good games. The NBA always kills it with their opening night. They always give us a couple great matchups, and then we're gonna talk some big picture futures, and then a couple sneaky looking futures bets that you have your eye on. So let's get into the bets for opening night. I'm gonna hit lead off for us, and I'm going to take the Golden State Warriors to cover the 1-point spread. They are a 1-point favorite at home versus the Phoenix Suns tomorrow night. And this is a true home court advantage that they have. They have an NBA best 79% home win percentage over the last 2 seasons. Last season, they started 17-2 on their home court. And check out the 2 teams here. We have some pretty significant contrast with the rosters here. We have the continuity of Golden State versus too many new pieces for Phoenix, including a new head coach. Kevin Durant hasn't even played 20 games as a Phoenix Sun yet. So I think they're going to be good, absolutely, but I think it's going to take some time for them to get going, and they will not get going in this environment in Golden State. And I think that this spread, Jon, is disrespectful to the Golden State Warriors. A 1-point spread. Check them out last season. Last season, we saw them as a favorite in the playoffs at home by upwards of 8 points in a game versus the Lakers, by upwards of 7.5 points at home versus the Kings in the playoffs. They played a healthy Bucks team in March. They were favored by 3.5 in that one. So way too much respect for a Suns team that's brand new. Most of these guys haven't played in a game together that's counted. So I think this is a great spot to jump on the Warriors. A lot of hype around the Suns, who eventually will be pretty good, but I think it might take them some time to get going. So my best bet for opening night in the NBA, I like the Warriors to cover that single-point spread. Let's take a trip to Prop City for your 2 bets of the night. And let's start with the first game of the night. The Lakers in Denver take on the defending champion Nuggets, and you are fading the king, LeBron James. Tell us a little bit about it.
I know when I placed that bet this morning, and when I was writing it, I was like, I can just hear my editors being like, nobody wants to place an under bet on LeBron James, but they need to take that up with FanDuel because they put his total at 24.5 points. And we're seeing there was some 22.5 out there. It's moved up to 23.5, but there's almost everyone's at 23.5, and FanDuel's the only one at 24.5. And that point makes a huge difference here, especially since at FanDuel, it's minus 115 for the under 24.5. And at most of the other sites, it's like minus 120, minus 125. So not only are you getting a full more extra point, you're getting even better juice. But aside from the number itself, there's also factors from like the basketball side of things. And when you watch the Western Conference Finals, Aaron Gordon was a nightmare for LeBron James. Aaron Gordon's big, he's fast, he can hold them in the post, he's athletic. They also, I think Michael Malone made it, when you go back and watch the Western Conference Final, Michael Malone made it very clear that Anthony Davis can beat them, but LeBron James can't. And whenever LeBron James got the ball in the post on someone that wasn't Aaron Gordon, they were setting doubles. When it was Anthony Davis, they're kind of letting him play one-on-one, and they weren't helping off of James. They clearly want to make James a passer. And with the under 24.5 available at FanDuel, I like that number.
Okay, next up, you have a prop bet, maybe something a little under the radar on one of the newest members of the Phoenix Suns, Bradley Beal. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, if you follow my prop bets, get used to the assist market, because that is by far my favorite market. I played point guard growing up, so it just kind of vibes with what how I watch the game and stuff. But Bradley Beal was consistently someone I thought was underrated last year in the assist market. I played a bunch of overs on him. But when he was with the Wizards, we were looking at like 5.5 minus 130 for the over, 6.5 maybe plus money minus 110. So the fact that he's with the Suns, his number will be, he's not going to be on the ball as much, but the number's adjusted here, right? It's 4.5 over his plus 110. in the preseason, we saw a lot of Devin Booker, Kevin Durant pick and rolls with kind of Beal more in the corner. He will have the opportunity to be a primary ball handler, not as much with the Wizards, but he's not just a shooter. When they go straight to the corner, he's not just a spot up shooter who's going to just take that shot. He was penetrating off the baseline a lot. And once you guard the action of the pick and roll, Beal catches it in the corner. Now the defense is already moving and he's penetrating. There was so many easy dump offs to teammates. I think this 4.5 is I don't think we'll see it for very long. I think this will be 5.5 much quicker than it's weird because he doesn't have the same ball handling responsibilities with the Suns, but the offense he's playing in can get him a lot more assists than it did with the Wizards.
Yeah, no true point guard there, like you say. So I think the Suns, it could take some time to figure that out. That's one of the reasons why I like the Warriors to cover that very modest spread, only favored by 1 point. It is very disrespectful. Okay, so let's talk NBA Finals here. You take a look at the top of the odds board. Depending on where you shop, the Bucks and Celtics, they're either going to be tied or they'll have one of them over the other as a favorite. Then you have the Nuggets, the Suns, Lakers 1,200, the Warriors 13-1. Then you have don't waste your money on the 76ers. Do not waste your money on the Clippers. You trust Kawhi Leonard to play an entire playoff series? Absolutely not. Maybe you could argue some value on a team like the Dallas Mavericks. And again, do you trust Kyrie Irving? Not really. And then the Miami Heat, 20-1. My pick, John, not really going out on a limb here. I'm going to take the Celtics to beat the Lakers in the NBA Finals. And of course, everyone's going to say the NBA picks it so that we would have that matchup. But there's way too much to like about the Celtics here. This is a battle-tested team that's had deep playoff run after deep playoff run. And now they've elevated the roster quite a bit with a higher level of, I guess you would call them secondary players in Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. If you have Porzingis as your fourth best player, I think that's pretty good. If Porzingis is your second best player, hey, you're going to be in trouble. But I think that's a pretty good role for him. You have Tatum as a top 5 player in the NBA. He's probably only going to get just a little bit better with each passing season. Jaylen Brown just signed that big contract. People forget, everyone made fun of him because he couldn't go left or whatever last year. He had that weird hand injury last year too. So maybe a little bit of an excuse for him. And I do think, they had a really weird coaching situation where Joe Mazzulla needed to step in. And it was clearly over his head at times. So I think that experience last year is only going to help him. Some of those inefficiencies he'll be over to come. He does have a lot of help. Brad Stevens, Jeff Van Gundy in the front office now. So, yeah, I like the Celtics quite a bit. You take a look at the rest of the East. They're the least flawed team of the other contenders in the Eastern Conference. Who knows with the new coaching situation for Milwaukee? Chris Middleton seems to be going downhill. Can we trust Damian Lillard to stay healthy all season as well? Don't even get me started on the Philadelphia 76ers. They're not going on a deep playoff run by any means. James Harden already killing that team in the season that hasn't started. And for the Miami Heat, how long can Miami keep getting by like this? Yes, they are the best coach in the team, but they don't have the same level of talent that the other teams do. So would I be shocked if the Heat make a deep playoff run? No. But, they went out and tried to get Lillard to add him and try to make a bit of a big three, but they didn't do it. As for the Lakers, I love the depth that they have on their team. They added a lot of nice pieces here. They know how to manage a roster and how to navigate the regular season. Now, during the regular season, I don't think they're going to be great. I think they're going to be a good regular season team. You're going to see Anthony Davis and LeBron get a ton of rest. They're just happy to get into the playoffs. We saw that last season, the play-in run. They were a play-in team and then went all the way to the Western Conference Finals. They'll probably do a little bit better than that, maybe get like the 6th seed. But yeah, Celtics over Lakers in the NBA Finals is my official pick for this upcoming season. Who are you picking to win the NBA Finals this year?
Yeah, I'm half agree with you, but my champion's coming from the West. I'm actually going with the Suns. I think it'll be the Suns over the Celtics. I do like the Celtics much better than the Bucks with a lot of things you highlighted too. I think with the Celtics, you kind of like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are both very good, but they also need like different offense. And I think they addressed that with Porzingis, which I think will make them a lot more versatile in offense. And the versatility in offense is another reason why I do like the Suns. It's kind of funny because when they trade for Beal, like 2 days after the NBA Finals ended, I was a hater. I didn't like it at all. And they were plus 650 then to win the NBA Finals. And I didn't think they'd be able to fill out the roster with enough depth to even make that work. And now we're 3 months later, and my opinion's completely changed. And a lot of it did change when they traded DeAndre Ayton. I think bringing in Yusuf Nurkic and Nasir Little and Grayson Allen. I feel like Grayson Allen, I'm a North Carolina fan, so it kills me to give him praise because he's from Duke. But like Grayson Allen was starting on the Milwaukee Bucks last year. He shot 40% from three. He's not even just a shooter in the corner. Kind of the same thing I was talking about with Beal. Like when they run, like you think if you have a Booker Durant pick and roll and you can go either way, and you have Beal and Allen in both corners as shooters, but they can both drive and create even more offense than that. I just really think the Suns fill out their roster with people who are okay with being role players, which I think is like Josh Okogie, Jordan Goodwin. These guys want to play defense, and I really like that aspect. They're also older kind of role players, and I think they know their best chance to stay in the NBA is to be a really good defender as a role player on a team like this. So I think it's going to work. I did bet the Suns plus 650 to win the NBA Finals yesterday, actually. So
yeah, their lack of depth really caught up to them in the playoffs last year. I find they're kind of built like those LeBron Cavalier teams a little bit. You know, you got the couple of big guys, big time players, and you have some older veterans who are in there just to have one specific role. So like I said, I think the Suns get off to a slow start, but over the course of the season, they will put it together. So let's whip through a couple of season-long futures bets that you like. An over-under. So I talked about how I think the Lakers just have a good regular season, not a great regular season. You like them to go under their win total. Tell us why.
Yeah, preach. Same thing you said. I just don't think this team is interested in, they're not trying to win 50 plus games. That's not who they are with LeBron James at this point in his career. I bet them under 48.5 wins, but I think this was back in like July. It's more 47.5 now. So that number's not really available anymore. It was a weird number when it was open. It was just that one sports book. They won 43 last year to get to 49 to go over 6 more wins. I mean, I like the additions. They can have 47, 48, just not 49. But it's just not. I just don't think they're gonna rest players. I think they're gonna utilize that depth you're talking about that they added. So, and they also play in the Pacific Division where all 5 teams are literally competing to win the NBA Finals. You got to play 4 games against each. The 48.5 is different for the Lakers versus a 48.5 for someone else. One team I did play over is the Atlanta Hawks. I went over 41.5 on their win total. I grabbed at 41.5 minus 115. If you go quickly through the market, it'll look like it's not available. It's moved up to 42.5 in a lot of spots, but at DraftKings, they have like a slider you can move to get alternate totals. They have over 42.5 minus 115, over 41.5 minus 120. That makes no sense. So it is still kind of available, and I would definitely take that minus 120 still, even though I got at minus 115. That is pretty much the only spot you'll be able to grab the 41.5 with good juice.
All right, a little bit of love for Trae Young and the boys down in Atlanta, and bring it home for us. One of your favorite season-long award bets. Who are we betting on here?
Yeah, we'll go long shot, make it fun. Jonathan Kuminga,
Yes.
6th man of the year. So if you watch preseason, he's been one of the leading scorers. He's 21. It's his 3rd season. It's insane that he's still 21. He looks like crazy explosive. I mean, Jordan Poole was 20 points off the bench. He's gone to Washington. So immediately there's opening for bench scoring. Chris Paul comes in, but Chris Paul's not a scorer. Chris Paul is a facilitator. So if anything, Chris Paul is just going to help Kuminga score more points kind of idea. And I think that's something you're definitely going to see. I was debating back and forth between most improved 6th man. I just like 6th man. They're pretty much the same odds when I was looking. Kuminga doesn't have to compete against as many people, maybe like 10, 15 people in 6th man award. Most improved, you're literally going against the entire NBA. I bet at 70-1 last week. There's still 50-1 at FanDuel. You didn't miss it. I would grab the 50-1 because I think that will be, I mean, even after tomorrow's game, if he comes off the bench and drops 20, that number will be long gone.
Okay, tell me what you think of this bet before we let you go. Jakob Poeltl, most improved player in the NBA, parlayed with Jakob Poeltl, most rebounds in the NBA. What do you think of that one?
I always laugh at those props you post on Twitter for him. I will say their coach was talking about putting him at the high post and having him facilitate more. So watch those assist props for Jakob Poeltl to start the season. I know they were like 2.5, 3.5 last year, and he actually hit a couple for me. So if they are going to use him as more a facilitator, that those numbers could be way off on him.
There we have it. Jakob Pertl prop betting analysis here on Before You Bet. You will not
Yeah.
get that on any other
No.
show. That's what Jon Metler from Sportsbook Review brings to the table for us. John, tell the people where they can find more of your work, or where they can find you at on social media.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. Very simple. It's just my name, Jon Metler, and I write NBA content every day at sportsbookreview.com. So you can check me out there.
Okay, there we have it. John, we will let you go. We wish you best of luck with your bets tomorrow night and for your season-long futures, and we will catch up with you again on Thursday, where we will once again dig into our best bets for the NBA.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on, Joe.